Hi there, everyone. My name is Christian Eschbach, and welcome to another one of my album reviews. And I got some lens flare going on here that J.J. Abrams would pay $1 million for. Alright, speaking of fantasy life, we're going to talk about Avantasia, Angel of Babylon. Alright, so let me start with this is the third Avantasia album I've covered. And the first one was February 12th of 2001. Well, that got put online anyways. Second one was February 2nd of 2002, and you'll be seeing this sometime in September of 2002. So they're getting a little closer together. Alright, so this album is a 2010 release. At least this version of the CD is a 2010 release, according to what my computer tells me here when it pulls up in my media player with all its details. Now, I'm trying to do Avantasia in order, or close to in order, and so far... let's see, I covered the Scarecrow. I believe the Scarecrow was actually the first one I covered. Yep, Scarecrow was the first one I covered, and that was the 2008 release. Then The Wicked Symphony, which was also a 2010 release, was the next album I covered. So now we're on to the other 2010 release, Angel of Babylon. There's a lot of things about this album I really enjoy. There's a few things I'm not really into on this album, and it's okay with both. You know, fans of this must really enjoy this because I mean, like even me as a person who's not a huge fan, this is concept album heavy metal Frank Zappa level. You know, we got multiple voices going on, multiple characters. You know, I feel like this is a good album to kind of follow up after Joe's Garage, just because there are so many parts to it and whatnot going on. The difference between this and Joe's Garage is the instrumental arrangements, or the just the instruments used in general. Very standard metal. Now, one of the things I love about this album is if you grew up listening to late 80s, early 90s metal, like I did, we had our cool stuff in there. You had your Metallica in there. I know Guns N' Roses isn't metal. So we're going to say hard rock, heavy metal, okay? You know, we had some good years in there. You know, if you ever go look up, like the albums that came out the year of 1991 or the year of 1992, you get like these insane lists of albums. What I'm trying to get at is this album, I feel like when I'm listening to it, I can hear Alice Cooper's Trash album in there. And while it may not be my favorite Alice Cooper album, it's not like musically bad, there's definitely some Iron Maiden kind of vibing going on in here. Some Deep Purple vibing, which I'm going to come back to. Which also kind of runs into a Rainbow as well, which I'm once again going to come back to in a moment. This album is made up of a ton of musicians. I'm going to start with the musicians themselves, and then I'll get into the vocalists in a minute. You got Sasha Paeth, Bruce Kulick. I know Bruce. Now, all of these people are names in the industry, in their branches of metal or whatnot. That's how they end up on here. I know two names that I'm going to list off. Well, three. I know three at this point. But, okay, so I got Bruce Kulick on lead guitar. Bruce I know from Kiss. He's also done, other stuff here and there. He was in Grand Funk Railroad for a while. Great guitarist. Oliver Hartman. I do not know Oliver Hartman. Heino Richter. Nope. Jens Johansson. Once again, nope. Sorry. Miro Rotenberg. Nope. Simon Oberender? Nope. They're all fantastic musicians listening to this. I just don't know any of them. Except for Bruce. Then you got Felix Bonk. Three drummers. Three drummers to make up this album. Felix Bonk, Alex Holzwurf, and Eric Singer. Eric Singer, obviously, Kiss is where most people are going to know him from. I always go to Alice Cooper first, you know. That's just me. That's just me. If you're one of my regular viewers, you know how I am about Alice. Okay. Then we get into the vocalists. Okay, so you got Tobias Sammet, who's lead vocals and bass. This is Avantasia is Tobias Sammet's project. He writes fantastic music based off all the music that's in here and whatnot. He very much does have a time and place though that he likes for music. Definitely like between like say 88 and 92. Okay. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Alright, then you got Jorn Land. I don't know any of these vocalists. Russell Allen, Michael Kisk, John Oliva, Cloudy Yang. Cloudy Yang, I'm going to talk about as we go through here. Bob Catley, and Oliver Hartman. Okay, so there is Glenn Hughes of I don't remember if he actually was in Deep Purple or not, but I know he did do a stint in Rainbow, I think. Or am I reversing that? Okay, that's what the correction here is for. Okay, so Glenn Hughes, great vocalist. I've talked about him before in other reviews and whatnot, and I thought Glenn Hughes was on this album. I honestly thought they got Glenn Hughes to come and do vocals on this album because there's a lot of parts in here that really sounds like Glenn Hughes. The problem is the way they list who is doing the vocals on what songs, it doesn't specify at which parts who's doing what. So I don't know who's it is on here that sounds like Glenn Hughes. Or there's a couple people on here that when you put them together, the total sound and range matches Glenn Hughes. It's really interesting. I love the vocals throughout the album, and it's nice to kind of have the mix and match in there. The problem is they're all kind of within a range, going with that Glenn Hughes story that I just told. You know, you can pick most of them apart at different points, but not all of them. And Cloudy Yang is the easiest one to pull out of the mix. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to actually get into the songs now. The album opens up with Stargazers. Clocks in at 9 minutes and 33 seconds. Let me tell you, it takes some balls to open up your album with the longest song on the album. Okay. It's a good tune. Really, I honestly thought it was like 3 separate tunes at one point listening to it. It's really well done and put together that way. It's not just one giant drawn out kind of thing. And it's actually the first time I thought that Glenn Hughes was on the album. And this is probably why I keep going to Deep Purple, because of the song Stargazer from Deep Purple. Anyways, after that we got Angel of Babylon. Angel of Babylon, it's not a bad song. Okay, let me be very clear. I like listening to this album from beginning to end. It's really nice. It's a really good listen from beginning to end. I've listened to it a few too many times, so in the last day alone, just so I could do the review. And Angel of Babylon is kind of, to me, sort of typical musically, metal-wise. It's just, there's nothing that really overly grabs me on that song. Your Love is Evil follows that up. Same thing. There's nothing that overly grabs me in that song. It's a good song when it's going through and playing, just nothing that overly grabs me. Death is just a feeling. This is the first song that really grabs me on this album. Like, Stargazer is a really good start to the album, but it lets you know that, you know, you're in for a typical kind of metal kind of album. Death is just a feeling there's something so beautifully cliche metal about this. It's just great. I absolutely love this song. This is one that I could definitely put into a mix here and there, no problem, and just really enjoy the hell out of it. Rat Race. Okay, so have you ever heard a song when people are singing about the rat race? Okay, this is no different. It's just metal. That's that. Not a bad tune. Just it's your typical kind of rat race kind of song. It's got that typical kind of pace going on in there. Lyrically, it's about the rat race. It's a rat race song. After that, we got Down in the Dark. All right, Down in the Dark. I'm not entirely. I really do enjoy this song. I don't know if it's one that I would put into mixes later on, but I really actually get into this song when this song comes on. Every time I've listened to it, I've really kind of just. It really does grab me and holds me in. Don't have a good reason either. Just really enjoy it. After that, we get to Blowing Out the Flame. We're back to, when the album's playing cool. Otherwise, whatever. Symphony of Life follows that up. Now, I had mentioned Cloudy Yang earlier. Cloudy Yang is the vocalist on Symphony of Life. The only female vocalist on the album. I actually had to. I actually had to go and look in the notes to make sure I was right because I figured Cloudy Yang sounds like a woman's name. Thought I better double check for sure. And yes, Symphony of Life. Well, the song itself isn't anything spectacular as far as I'm concerned. Her vocals are really well done on this. Now, I know a lot of her vocals are in part studio trickery, but the way she's singing at different parts in here, I really would be interested in checking out some other stuff that she's done. Because she's got a veritable range, and not just like she can do the pretty range, but she sounds like she knows how to make it a little bit dirty while she's singing it as well. And if you're one of my regular viewers, I appreciate a female vocalist that can make it sound dirty. And I don't mean dirty as in, ooh, look at you, naughty. I mean dirty like, Tina Turner getting up on stage and putting a little stank on it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. Next up, we get to Alone I Remember. Now, this song stands out on this album because it is actually the most standout musically on this album. This whole album is definitely, like I said, it's basically a love song to 88 through 92 for metal. That's where I'm going with that, and more the glam side of the metal, Yeah, I feel comfortable saying more with the glam side. And I'm going to lump Alice into the glam side on this one. Don't give a crap what anybody says. But Alone I Remember is more of that Aerosmith kind of vibe. Not quite. It's got a little bit of that blues to it, a little bit of that boom stomp, that little, oh, yeah. I'll be honest, you change the distortion on it, you throw a little extra keyboard on it, you give it just a little more, I could see it Rammstein doing it, like it's got that kind of, But it's done in that late 80s kind of overproduced country blues, but it's hard rock kind of sound, I want to go like, George Thorogood and the Destroyers a little more, I really dig it though. I think it's a good tune. I like how it stands out compared to most of the rest of the album. The last two tracks on the album, Promised Land and Journey to Arcadia, they close out the album nicely. if you are into hard rock heavy metal from the time frame I keep saying, 88 through 92. And when I say metal, I'm not talking metal. I'm talking, more the glam metal kind of, and that does include Alice Cooper in there. There's certain vibes in there that I can really pick up. Like there's definite elements in there that definitely remind me of Trash. Definite elements in there that remind me of Constrictor. Um, Guitar stylings that remind me of Raise Your Fist and Yell. Kiss's Revenge album to a degree, but let's be clear, that's just in production and sound, not in the instrumentation. The instrumentation is definitely still more your power metal, like Iron Maiden, even from that time period. That's really where this album takes me with that. I like the mix of vocals and vocalists. Sorry, I really dig it. I think it really does help the album pop and carry it along. I think maybe the voices aren't diverse enough, because if you're not paying attention, you could honestly believe it's the same vocalist going through most of the album. Maybe it's two vocalists going through the album. I didn't realize there was as many vocalists as there was. Obviously the female, Cloudy Yang, obviously she stands out from everybody else for, obvious reasons. But yeah, that's that. That's what I think. If you're into power metal, if you are into Maiden, if you're into something with a good narrative, some story to it, but metal, great album to check out. It's definitely an album I'll have no problem putting in the CD player after I do this review. I mean, I don't think it's an album I'll listen to on a regular basis necessarily, but still, decent album. Let me know what you think, folks. Comment section, that's what it's for. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button. That way you find out when new videos come out. Link below to goes to Patreon. Peace, love, take care.